before Congress the unanimous declaration of the 99% of citizens not considered wealthy in these 50 United States of America. When in the pathway of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We, the 99% of citizens not considered wealthy of this great nation, hold these truths to be self-apparent, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain permanent rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among the citizens, deriving their only powers from the consent of the majority of citizens, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles as the lower 99% earning citizens' life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Discretion, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for here today and gone tomorrow causes. But when a long train of abuses and violations, pursuing invariably the same outcome, shows a design to reduce all citizens under absolute tyranny in the form of a wealthy, unjust government, it is the citizens' right and duty to throw off such government, and to provide new safeguards for their future security. Such has been the patient acceptance of the lower 99% earning citizens of these 50 states, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of past and present politicians is a history of repeated injuries and violations to the citizens of this great nation, all having in direct outcome the establishment of an absolute tyranny, in the form of a wealth-driven government over these 50 states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. They have refused to agree to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. They have forbidden governors from passing laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till their agreement can be obtained, and when so suspended, they have utterly neglected to attend to them. They have called together their legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the place of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing the citizens into compliance with their measures. They have judges dependent on their will alone for the tenure of their offices, and the amount and payment of their salaries. They have erected a multitude of new offices, and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people. They have taken away from us, in times of peace, our own personal liberties without the consent of our voices. They have continued to use the military for purposes the majority would disagree with. They have combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution, and unacknowledged by our laws, giving their assent to acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops in areas the majority does not want them, for cutting off our trade with parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefit of trial by jury, for taking away our charters and abolishing our most valuable laws, while imposing new, unwarranted laws that fundamentally alter the majority's way of living, for suspending our own state legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all areas whatsoever. They have allowed the plundering of our seas, ravaging of our coasts, burning of our towns, and destruction of the lives of our people. They have instigated domestic insurrections amongst the majority. They have repeatedly allowed large corporations and media to persuade and direct the pathway of our great nation. They have repeatedly bailed out large corporations and banking institutions without holding them accountable for their actions. They have repeatedly allowed large corporations to raise the prices of goods and services, without also raising the minimum wage accordingly. They have repeatedly neglected the 99% of the people not considered to be wealthy in this great nation. They have repeatedly tried to play the role of our God, dictating who we can and cannot join in matrimony. In every stage of these oppressions we have petitioned for redirection in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A government whose combined character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant, is unfit to lead a nation of free people. We have warned the government from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our original emigration and settlement here. We have pleaded with them to disavow these usurpations, they have been deaf to the voice of justice and equality. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity, which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the unjustly treated people of the United States of America, before Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world, for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name, and by the authority of the good people of these 50 states, solemnly publish and declare, that these 50 United States are, and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the federal government, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to establish their own laws, establish their own taxes, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.